grinding every day. Long hours, no backup, no accountability. That ends now. The Empower Solopreneur Mastermind gives you one simple advantage: a weekly power session that turns isolation into domination. Every Friday morning on Zoom, you'll get real coaching and real feedback to make real moves. Join a group of driven professionals in a program designed for solopreneurs and people working at home. Stop getting stuck. Start scaling. Seats are limited. Lock in yours today at modernobserver.com/empower-mastermind.
The U.S. suspends visa processing. The House moves closer to averting another shutdown. A massive outage at Verizon, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. The Trump administration is suspending immigrant visa processing for 75 countries, the State Department said Wednesday. The State Department claimed that immigrants from the countries on the list, including Afghanistan, Brazil, Egypt, and Somalia, take welfare from the American people at unacceptable rates. The move marks an escalation of the Trump administration's crackdown on immigration, which has included deportations and freezes on visa applications. The visa processing for these countries will be paused while the State Department reassesses immigration processing procedures to prevent the entry of foreign nationals who would take welfare and public benefits, State Department Principal Deputy Spokesperson Tommy Peugeot said in a statement. Senate Republicans killed a war powers resolution to limit President Trump's ability to further strike Venezuela after the White House put pressure on a handful of GOP senators who supported it. Republican Senators Josh Hawley of Missouri and Todd Young of Indiana flipped their support Wednesday after initially voted to advance it. Vice President J.D. Vance had to step in to break the 50-50 tie. Republicans used a procedural maneuver to block the measure, arguing that the resolution should no longer be privileged, which gives it priority on the floor because the U.S. is not currently engaged in hostilities with Venezuela. The House of Representatives passed a roughly $80 billion spending package Wednesday evening, taking a significant step towards averting a government shutdown at the end of this month. The package combines two of Congress's 12 annual appropriations bills in what's called a minibus. It covers funding for the State Department and related national security, as well as federal financial services and general government operations. The bill passed with overwhelming bipartisan support in a 341-79 vote. Denmark's Foreign Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen made it clear after a meeting between Danish representatives and Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio that there had been no agreement regarding President Trump's desire for the U.S. to acquire Greenland, but a dialogue would continue. For now, the two sides differ on what they can accept. Rasmussen said that ideas that would not respect territorial integrity of the Kingdom of Denmark and the right of self-determination of the Greenland people are, of course, totally unacceptable. Meanwhile, Trump said before the meeting that NATO would be strengthened by U.S. control of Greenland, and anything less than that is unacceptable. Trump said Wednesday he has been told the killing has stopped in Iran. Earlier in the day, the U.S. military evacuated some personnel from the American air base in Qatar. The decision was described as precautionary and came shortly after Trump threatened to take very strong action against the Iranian regime if it executes any of its protesters. France's ambassador to the United Nations said Paris has strongly condemned Iran's violent crackdown on nationwide protests as the French government weighs possible satellite communication support to help Iranians circumvent a near-total internet blackout. Jerome Bonifant described what he said was an escalation in repression by Iranian authorities and outlined France's response, including sanctions and diplomatic pressure. We have condemned very, very strongly at the highest level the repression against the popular movement in Iran, Bonafort said. This time, it seems to me that the repression is even more violent than it used to be. Verizon suffered a widespread network outage on Wednesday, leaving customers with phones displaying SOS mode and unable to make calls, send texts, or access mobile data across major cities. New York City and Washington, D.C. officials issued emergency alerts urging residents to use devices from other carriers or go directly to police and fire stations. Service was mostly restored by late Wednesday evening. Federal Communications Commission Chair Brendan Carr announced the agency would review the outage, while Verizon said there was no evidence of a cyber attack. Whole milk is heading back to the school cafeterias across the country after President Donald Trump signed a bill Wednesday overturning Obama-era limits on higher fat milk options. Non-dairy drinks, such as fortified soy milk, may also be on the menu in the coming months, following adoption of the Whole Milk for Healthy Kids Act, which cleared Congress in the fall. The action allows schools participating in the National School Lunch Program to serve whole and 2% fat milk, along with the skim and low-fat products required since 2012. Studies have verified the health benefits of milk fat, including its importance in maintaining a healthy weight. That's the Raw Naked Truth for January 15th, 2026. You can catch every episode of the Raw Naked Truth Daily News Brief, as well as our sister podcast, Carnivore Radio, with news analysis and commentary, and the rest of the Xvadio Podcast Network at xvadio.com, the Apple Podcast app, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.